highest greeting that I can give to anyone is to acknowledge the beautiful and divine in them, even as I acknowledge the beautiful and divine in myself. Wherefore, greet all of you in the ancient words spoken by all masters and at all times in different generations and different languages as I am. So this week we are now going to have a PDF. So you'll need to take good notes, especially if you plan on attending study group tomorrow. We are continuing to talk about wisdom because we talk about wisdom every week. But we're being obedient to the universe and the message that he wanted to convey today. That was received at 5:55.
Boom.
Wow.
So that's the title. 5:55.
Wow.
Say it.
5 dimensions, 5 disciplines, 5 books.
Come on, man.
5:55. So we're going to start off in the science and look at page 204. And then we're just going to see what happens. 5:55. On page 204, in that second paragraph, it says, as in the Comedic science relating to the states of solid, liquid, and gas, the person attaining success at the peak of the mountain and the person facing demise on the ledge are in the same position, except one sees life expanding while the other contemplates death. So we understand that solid, liquid, and gas, although different states of matter, reflect a common substance. That there's a common substance in water as liquid, as ice, as gas. It is not different in substance, but only in state. And so the human being who is on the ledge, sometimes when people want to end their life, they go up to a high place to do it. And they contemplate jumping off. That same high place is also used to describe someone at the pinnacle of success. The person at the pinnacle of success has to climb a mountain to get there. And it's not easy to get there. And the person that wants to go up on a high place and jump off, as the ego offered Yeshua, that's not easy either. But they can both make a choice. The issue is that it's all about contemplation. It's all about what that person chooses to see and what that person chooses to do. You are either going through difficulty or you're growing through difficulty.
Yes, sir.
It's a choice.
Yes, sir.
Difficulty or physics must come.
Yes.
But how you go through it is really the determining factor of what you're going to become.
Yes.
No one remembers anyone that never went through anything. You only remember people that go through something, and you only remember people that solve problems for other people that go through something.
Right.
But nobody remembers the person that laid down and quit. Their names are not written in the annals of time. And I think that we as a people, and we personally, have to get past just being satisfied with honorable mention. We ought to want to win. Whatever we're doing, whatever we're dealing with. I mean, if you're sharpening your pencil, you ought to want to win. You ought to want the pencil to be sharper
Yes, sir.
and more usable than ever before. Somebody sharpened the pencil and found that they were equal to the other person that sharpened the pencil, so they went ahead and made a mechanical pencil. You ought to always be evolving to the next level of consciousness and the next level of your own personal power. But even as you're doing that, even as you're contemplating success, one of the things that the universe said this morning is that when desire becomes obsession, it can't be manifested. When what you want becomes an obsession, it can't be manifested. What I thought I was supposed to have that as my dominant contemplation. Yes. But when you are obsessive, it means that you can't enjoy your now. It means that you can't be in gratitude because you only obsess over something you don't think you have. You only obsess over something that you think is not going to come into fruition. That's when you start to obsess. And so we have to be able to feel our mental contemplation, right? Experience what we want to have, but at the same time, not fall into a depression because we think we don't have it.
Come on.
As soon as you start experiencing negative emotion, when the thought of what you want comes to you, then that means that you are obsessing over something rather than possessing over something. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
When you start feeling a negative emotion, you start feeling depressed, you start feeling sad, you start feeling down, when you think about what you want, then something ain't right. Something's not right. You're supposed to be elated over the reality that it belongs to you, that it is yours.
Yes. Yes.
Only ask and believe and you'll receive it. So we have to live in gratitude. And the only way we can live in gratitude is to be content with now. You have to learn how to be content. I didn't say satisfied. I said content. Contentment means that I'm able to understand the full beauty and spectrum of where I am at the moment. So when we talk about feeling, and you go back to the old way, the old word, when they say faith without works is dead. Let's break that down. Well, we know that faith is feeling.
Right.
Without faith, it's impossible to please God or impossible to harness God's power. What does that mean? Without feeling. If I can't feel my manifestation, I can't have my manifestation. And some of the things we want in life are not coming to us at the speed we want it to come because we can't feel it. Now, it's deep because it says faith without works is dead. What do you mean by dead? We don't mean dead in the ground. You know, faith can't die. Not like that. It's energy, right? So what do you mean by faith is dead? Well, basically what it's saying is, if you have feeling, but you're not making any effort to make what you feel come to pass, then you're just daydreaming. You got to understand there's a difference between a daydream and mental contemplation in mind science. Daydream is where you just sit up and talk real big about what you want to do, what you think you want to have. But you don't have the gumption, you don't have the fortitude to fight, to see it coming into manifestation and to make the necessary effort. So if I have feeling, but I'm not willing to put forth any effort, I just want to sit around and let life come to me rather than me dictate life, I'm never going to see the manifestation. Are you understanding that? If I say that I want to be a financial guru, but I don't want to read about the market, I don't want to read and study how finance works, then I'm just a tinkling cymbal. I'm just sounding brass. It says if I have not love, I don't have anything. If I'm not synergetically compatible with what I want to manifest, then I will never manifest. What do you mean synergetically compatible? It means that I have to possess the character of the manifestation I want to bring into existence. I've got to possess the character of a husband before I can be the husband.
Right.
Let me tell you something. You get somebody proposing to you, and they don't have the character of a husband, it don't matter if they walk down the aisle. It don't matter if they backflip down there. It don't matter how they say the vows. It don't matter if they shed a tear when they see you in the dress. You gonna catch holy hell your whole life. Because they don't possess the character necessary.
That's right.
And when it comes time For them to choose between jumping off of the ledge and holding their hand in victory over the ledge, they're going to jump off every time. Because they don't have it. They don't have it. Y'all with me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
They don't have it. You got to have the character. You got to have the character. You got to have the effort and the work ethic in order to turn a dream into a vision. Because if the dream can't have a plan and a strategy in order to become a vision propelled by effort, then what you are thinking about will die. People go around and talk about other people as dream killers because they don't believe in what you're talking about. It doesn't matter whether people believe in what you're talking about. The question is, do you believe in what you're talking about to the extent that no matter what happens, heaven or hell can happen, you're not going to give up on what it is you're talking about.
No.
And you are willing to work as hard in the terrestrial manner, in the material world, as you are in the ethereal and celestial world, understanding that there's really no difference between the gas, the solid, and the liquid. So while I'm in the energy field, I understand that what I feel in the energy field can only become solid, only become matter, only become mass, moved and directed by my force when I propel it with work. Work and energy. Work means that you are able to distribute and use energy. To turn something from potential energy into kinetic energy so that it can become powerful enough to become a force that moves matter. Otherwise, you're courting being a bum.
That's right.
You're courting being average.
Come on.
Straight up. So, we've been teaching you now about wisdom. That's wisdom. Right? Wielding intelligence scientifically to deliver optimal manifestation. So I don't just have information in my head where I can regurgitate facts, which is really no good to me anyway, because that's just frozen acceptance of a cognitive theory. But if I can take what I'm learning and transform that into a strategy, meaning I have to look at it scientifically. I've got to have an hypothesis. Some of us never move past being a theory.
Wow.
See, when I'm just sitting here thinking about what I want, I'm living in a theory. But a theory must be tested under certain laboratory conditions. Now, you have the choice where you decide the condition, or you can allow other people to decide the condition.
That's right.
The condition is the atmospheric reality in which you are testing your theory. If you were to test your godship and goddessship among fools, you would find that the atmospheric conditions of that laboratory would be subpar and inefficient in being able to prove your hypothesis. But if you get around like-minded people who recognize the power in them and say to yourself, I have a theory, I have a thesis, that I believe that I am divine and everything around me is supposed to work for my good.
Right.
If you're around other people that agree with that,
Yes.
then they can validate your test.
That's right.
So, it is important, it is critical that you understand that you have to take information and transpose that scientifically. And you're going to have to choose a philosophy. There's no way you can't choose a philosophy. You're either going to choose the philosophy of human beings or the ways of men or human beings, or you're going to choose the way of God, which is the tree of life, which is the science, which is energy-based perception. One leads to death, and the other one leads to life. Now, when that scripture says, choose this day which one you're going to serve, right? And part of that is saying that so your seed might live. So your children might live. We're not talking about little babies. We are talking about what you want to manifest. And if you can't choose energy-based perception to manifest what you want to come into reality, your seed will die. Are you seeing this? So your seed is an energy. It's an energy. It's a feeling. It's an idea. It's an idea. Success is an idea. It is an idea that wraps itself in the vehicle of thought as a seed.
That's it there.
And then is revealed in light and moves into sound until it's planted in the material plane, and then it is watered by your feeling and becomes a manifestation. Are you seeing that? So once it's in the material expression, it's got to be watered, and the sun has to hit it in order for the thought to open up so the seed can come out.
Okay.
Germinate.
Okay.
So that doesn't happen without effort. That doesn't happen without effort. The baby's not born if you don't push.
Okay. All right now.
Break it down.
So look, when we talk about our life, and we were talking about Wuji, we were talking about the circle, the square, and the triangle. And we were saying that in the martial arts, we stand on the square. Wherever we are, whatever position we are standing on wisdom.
Come on.
We're standing, our foundational ideology is the wisdom of the architecture. That we live based on energy-based perception. No matter what happens, that's how we think. Whatever we're faced with, that's how we think about it. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter where I am, I'm observing, I'm using my insight, my hindsight, and my foresight. I'm always stable because I'm like a tree planted by the water.
Right.
You can't get me to think differently than the saints. No matter what bill you send me, no matter what diagnosis you send me, no matter how much pain I'm in, no matter how disappointed I am, I know that that's the word of life. And I will not depart from it. You understand? It's a light to my path. I know that that way is the best way for me. So I'm standing on solid ground. Okay? But even though I'm standing, even though we're on the earth and we're connected to the earth through gravitational pull, the earth is revolving, isn't it? So the scientist moves even though they're still.
Come on, man.
We move in stillness. So I'm moving around what the world is showing me, right? And when I get ready to do something, I am always in my stance and I'm striking at an angle. I'm always moving in the path that's most advantageous for me. You with me? That's the way electricity does. Electricity doesn't go around the conductor and come back to it. If you put that copper right there, if that water is right there, electricity is going straight to that as fast as it can. But if you put a whole lot of stuff in between you and the electrical current, it's harder for it to get to you. And that's the problem with religion. Because with religion, they got all of these different things before you can get to God. You got to confess with your mouth. You got to slobber at the mouth. You got to speak in other tongues that nobody understands, including me. You understand? You got to splash me with water, or you got to dip me in the pool. I got to walk around the counter. I got to make highs. I got to do all of this stuff before I get to the source. Energy don't like that. That's why the world's messed up. Because the energy is looking a straight line to go to somebody that knows what it is and knows what they are. You feel what I'm saying? So, this is how we stand. This is how we move. This is our strategies and our tactics. Right? We have certain strategies and tactics, and that's what we get out of the mind science. That's what we get out of the geometry. And then but now when we say that we move spiritually, we're moving in a spiral, not simply a circle. There's a difference. I need you to get this.
Yeah.
The difference between some people when they move in a circle and when the scientist moves in a circle is that we're spiraling upward. Some people just chasing their tail. They're going round and round.
Come on.
If I listen. If I stand in the same space and I listen to you talk, and if I say to myself, if I stand here long enough and listen to you, you're going to repeat something you said before. You know, you may not be getting it. See,
I get it.
You were negative 3 weeks ago. You were depressed 3 weeks ago. I'm gonna stand right here and see if you come back around the same way. You were unfaithful, huh? You were unfaithful last year. I'm gonna stay right here and see if you come back around. If you come back around with that same stuff, and you're moving in a circle, you're chasing your tail. You're not spiraling.
That's right.
It talks about Israel in the desert. They were questioning Yeshua, questioning Jesus. And they were saying that, God gave our fathers manna. They were bragging. Some of y'all may not know the scripture, but I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead, tell them.
Y'all, they were bragging because they were talking about Jesus and said, you're doing all this talking, and you're empowering the people. But, we don't want to, we want to see some tangible results. So he hadn't fed the 5,000 yet. He hadn't fed the 7,000 yet because they didn't deserve it. So here they come now and they're talking to him and they're saying, our father ate manna. God gave our father bread. Manna is bread, money, whatever. And so Jesus said, yeah, they gave manna. They got it in the desert, right? And they did. What is he saying? That even though you give some people a vision, even though you give some people your love, even though you give some people your friendship, even though you give some people your trust, if they don't multiply that, if they just keep what you're giving them on the same level and just keep circling around and never grow, and if you can stand in the same space where you met them and come back around and after a period of time you find out they didn't grow, that means you got to make a decision.
Bye-bye.
Why? Because if you come back around and they still at the same space, that means you are too.
That's right.
I got to move around.
I got you, didn't you?
Yeah.
I told you to stay there, but you better not stay there. If you move it out and you don't see them no more, then that means you're moving up.
That's right.
Are you listening? I hope you get it. So look, we're moving. It's not a corporate ego. Does not want to see you spiraling up. We look at the universe and we got to remember that there are opposing forces. There's a corporate ego over here. Just going to put CE. There's a corporate ego over here that does not want to see you spiraling up because as you spiral up, it loses control. There's some people don't want to see you rise because when you rise, they don't have a friend no more.
That's right.
It's lonely at the top. When you rise, when you start making more money, they can't go to the mall with you. Because when they walking through the mall, they just looking. But you're ready to make a purchase. See, when you find that you've got to subdue your greatness to be with somebody, that means you're not spiraling up. And too many times, we have to slow down our speed of movement to let other people stay with us and stay caught up. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
I like people that want to multiply.
That's right.
I like people that want to learn. I don't want people to come and just be as good as I was. I want them to be better than me. I want you to not have to learn the lessons I had to learn. Y'all. I don't want you to have to go through the pain I went through. I don't want you to go through the hurt. I don't want you to have to find out about mind science at 40 and 50 and 60 and all that.
No, right?
We want babies coming out the womb.
Yeah.
Talking about I am that I am. First word come out is I am. Oh, that's daddy, little baby. What you say, honey? You ain't got time to heat up the milk, can't get to the milk.
Come on.
Baby sitting over there in the crib trying to move the milk with that little thing.
That's what's up.
Milk fall off the table. Like, hell, that milk on the rain off the table. Because they're not inhibited. If nobody tells them that things are a figment of their imagination and teaches them from birth that their imagination is the most powerful weapon and the most powerful gift that they have, and they can bring anything into manifestation they want, and then we can surround those babies with people that think like that. I got to go back to the lab now. Because you can't put that in them and then surround them with idiots.
Come on, talk, sir. Talk.
Come on.
I had a dream one night.
Let's go.
I was still as black as I am now, but I was born in China.
Oh.
Born in China, I couldn't believe it. I was like looking outside of myself, looking in at my little self. Speaking Chinese. Wearing Chinese clothes. Why? Because I was among Chinese.
Okay.
You have to look at where you are planting your seed to understand why it may or may not be grown. The seed has, now wait. The seed has a personal responsibility though.
Yes, sir. Okay, come on.
Seed, you can't grow up when I made you an apple and act like an orange. Seed, I made you to grow up and be spinach. But you're not that, you just weeds. Blowing in the wind with no nutritional value, nothing good to say. Nothing power, no power coming out your mouth. Just stupidity. Just repeating the social fantasy in a circle. I need you to think about moving in a spiral, but the corporate ego doesn't want to see that. So what the corporate ego does is the corporate ego attacks you with a force. Somebody said today that this thing comes at you just like we come at it. It comes with you with a force, which is a collection of feelings. And these feelings produce a threat. And the threat is carried out by people and situations.
Yes.
So, for example, the corporate ego will come to you with the force of fear. That's the force. You don't see the force unless you're looking through energy-based perception. You don't know that somebody's trying to make you afraid. Walk with me.
Come on.
You kind of come into this view by the threat. You see the threat. So let's say that somebody wants you to make you afraid, and the threat is the loss of income. Y'all with me?
Yes.
It could be anything. It could be the loss of a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, wife. It could be anything. But the ego is not telling. The ego ain't gonna kiss and tell you. You're not gonna even see this. I'm gonna show you in a minute how it does it. So you got a loss of income. Well, you didn't just come up with that on your own. You didn't just wake up in the morning and start thinking, I think I'll contemplate on the loss of income. Something in society, either people or situations, are creating that thought of threat in you. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so as these people in situations, what the ego tries to get you to do is concentrate on these people and these situations. Because if you're trying to overcome these people in the situation, once you remove this person, it'll just replace it with somebody else packing the same force and the same threat. You feel it?
Yes.
So you can leave one job and go to another one. You see what I mean? And that employer might be nice in the beginning, but then will start to threaten you in the end, right? And you will still be in fear. So what you must do is overcome the force.
Wow.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Now, in order for you to understand what that force is, you got to have wisdom. You got to have insight, hindsight, foresight. You with me?
Yes.
Because the corporate ego will bring that force to you as a wolf in sheep clothing. You remember that man on the top of the hill?
Yeah.
Let's go back now. And let's look at page 62 of the science. About halfway down the page. Well, I'll tell you what, let's start at the beginning of the page, 62. Let's just read. The first nature is communicated to us, page 62. The first nature is communicated to us through our internal consciousness. And the second nature is communicated to us through the apparatus of the social fantasy. So that's the distinction between the two philosophies. The second nature being attributed to social fantasy may be seen as designed by the ego. Where possible, the ego constructs a mirror image of the variable experience in the first nature. So when you talk about being in energy-based perception, being in consciousness, when the ego attacks you, it creates something that looks like it's right. It looks like it's good. It looks like you should engage in it. It looks like it's honest. He looked like he's truthful. She looked like she'd be all right. But you got to be able to distinguish between the two. And it's not going to just do this with people, it does it with forces.
Yes.
Let's keep going. Where possible, the ego constructs a mirror image of the variable experience when in the first nature to present to the human mind. This ploy is to get the mind to delve into the second nature psychology unaware of the duplicitous content of its experience. Thus, so what it wants you to do is get into the situation,
Unaware.
get involved with the person, get involved with the feeling without realizing the force that's backing him up.
That's right. Yeah, let them go too.
Thus, it must be understood that most things sacred in first nature are presented in a similar form in the second nature as to get the human beings to make decisions in the second nature. So one of the ways you know that you're dealing with something based on material perception instead of energy-based perception is that your actions are rooted in second nature psychology, material psychology. In other words, you are starting to think that this will work if I use material philosophy. All right. Handle this little shit that I say. For example, doubt and practicality are very close in presentation.
Man, say that.
Now I want you to walk with me through this. This is an example. So, practicality is one of the 12 trials of mind. That's energy-based perception. But doubt don't have no place. That's a child of fear. When you doubt your own ability, when you doubt if you can make it, that is not from the universe.
That's right.
That is not from God. God is nature.
That's true.
But doubt and practicality look almost identical when they're presented to you. Now, that's the forces. The forces are coming with a threat. Doubt comes with something, and practicality comes with something. You with me? But they come through people. So you can have somebody that's presenting practicality to you, and because your mind is messed up, you think they're trying to get you to doubt. Y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
Some good teaching, boy.
Yes, it is.
Look, so you go to somebody and you say, listen, sweetie, I believe in your vision, but we got to pay the light bill. before we make that investment. See, you doubting me. No, I'm not doubting you. I just know that you're going to need these clothes ironed and be able to see how you look before you walk out to make a big deal. Sweetheart, I think you should go. I think you ought to go to school. I think you need to finish school. You doubt my ability. No. I just think that there are some courses you need to have so you know how to count your money.
That's right.
So the account won't get over on you. That's all I'm trying to tell you. You see how close they are together?
Yeah.
But to the person, they're thinking, I don't need that because all these other people didn't need it. You don't know what they did to prepare
That's
you.
true. That is so true.
And are you in their order?
Right. Nope.
How did you see? You see, that's material thinking. You're taking somebody else's path and using it as an evaluation of your own. I need you to go to the laboratory.
That's good.
And I need you to look at your hypothesis.
Yes, sir.
You cannot prove your hypothesis by talking about somebody else's
That's
hypothesis.
right.
Now, in the court of law, I can go in and talk about the precedent that was set by certain judgment in other cases. But even if I do that, I have to prove the relevance of that case in this particular case and prove that they are identical in nature. And since none of us are identical in nature as it relates to our purpose, then it is inappropriate for me to bring that type of law or that type of legalese into a laboratory of scientific reason. So you need to think about who you're talking to.
That's right.
And what you're talking about. Look, doubt and practicality. Was sitting at the table. Doubt and practicality were so close together that the theologians called Thomas doubting Thomas and called Judas a mere traitor. When it was really Judas that was doubting, and Thomas that was just being practical. But they mixed them up. You see it?
On purpose.
It's so easy to get forces mixed up that Barabbas, which means son of Abba, which is still a son of God, and Yeshua got mixed up. And the people, the faculties had to choose between divine mind, right, ascended, and a material expression of success. I'll get that on the way on.
I got it already. Got it.
I'm talking about wheat being sown among the tares.
Discern.
It's critical. So, look at this now. Doubt and practicality are very close in presentation. Both of these constructs require that an analysis of circumstances be performed prior to execution of strategy. So before I get into my triangle, I need to make sure I'm solid on my square. Are you seeing that? Yeah. Don't move. When you got something you're not really sure about, take out time to do an analysis of the circumstances prior to moving. Doubt expresses, look, let's look at the difference. However, doubt expresses no probability in its analysis of whether a person will or is even capable of reaching a goal. So if I'm doubting you, I'm coming to you saying you can't do that. Right. I know what doubt sounds like. I've had some people tell me what I couldn't do. When they came, when the teacher told Malcolm X he couldn't be a lawyer, that was doubt. Are you understanding that? That's different. It says that I'm saying to you that you're not even capable of reaching the goal. You don't have the talent to do this. You're not that good. That's doubt. You see that? Yeah. In contrast, practicality assesses the competence of the plan. Look at that. I'm not even looking at you.
Come on.
I'm not looking at your capability.
Come on.
I'm not looking at your talent. I'm looking at your plan. I skip all of the emotional crap you want me to get into. And I'm just looking at your plan And I'm asking, look at this. I'm looking at the competence of your plan. Is your plan wielding intelligence, scientific, to deliver optimal manifestation?
Right. Yes.
I'm looking at your plan. That's all. And I'm looking for your strategy for implementing that plan.
Yeah.
So if you say you want to be an entrepreneur, and I say, well, you can't do that. Why? Because you don't have the talent to do that. You don't have the discipline to do that. That's doubt.
Yeah.
But if you say I want to be an entrepreneur, and I say, okay, have you written your business plan? Do you know what your product is going to be?
Yeah.
Do you know what your market is?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about a location? That's practicality. And then when you get ready to execute that plan, I'm now asking you, okay, are you prepared to go at least a year, possibly a year and a half, without seeing a profit, hopefully just breaking even, until your name gets recognition and your product gets recognition out there? Oh, you just doubt me. I'm going to be a millionaire first. I'm not saying you're not. I'm only asking you, do you have the resources to sustain in case the universe wants to multiply you fivefold, 555, by the time you get done?
Right.
Are you ready to enter into the world, into this world we're talking about? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You see the difference? So, practicality assesses the competence of the plan and strategy to be implemented. Look at what else practicality does. It suggests modification or execution without subtraction from the validity of the person or the goal. So I can suggest a few changes to you without telling you to get out of it. I'm not telling you to quit.
Right.
I'm just telling you to change a couple of strategies.
That's all.
And you getting mad about that? The hell is wrong with you? Huh? I'm not telling you you can't do something. I'm just suggesting to do it safely.
Right. That's it.
Right.
I'm not suggesting that you never get married. I'm just suggesting that you know who you marry.
Thank you.
I'm not suggesting that you don't go out on a date. I'm just saying that maybe the first couple of times you need to go in a well-lit area.
Oh my God.
It's mighty funny when people don't listen to practicality.
That's true. That's very true.
Huh?
Yeah.
How they want to call the executioner
Yeah.
to come fix whatever went wrong.
They didn't listen.
Wow.
Look at this. In doubt, there is no room for adjustment, as the conclusion has been reached.
Right.
So when somebody doubts you, they're not trying to give you advice on how you can make it work.
Never.
Right.
Never.
They're just saying it can't work.
That's a hater.
In practicality, adjustment and modifications are applied to gain the highest level of competence possible. Wow. Simple fundamental wisdom. So, this understanding of the dualistic nature of mental constructs when the ego is allowed to take part in our conversation may also be applied to the architecture of forces.
Right.
So when you're looking at these forces, you're determining what is the force behind the feeling that this person is projecting to me. And now, you don't need to go to your altar or to your portal and pray and slobber and hope that that force be mitigated. You need to go and look at yourself and ask yourself, what force is not activated to the highest vibration in me that's allowing that force to reach my atmosphere?
Thank you. That's it.
Because if I'm spiraling upward, that means I should be moving further and further away from negative forces. So if that force is still reading me and I can still see that on the radar, that means I have not left where I was. Are you with me?
Yes.
Going back to my original teaching. So if I'm flying to South Africa, when I first get in the plane and I take off, when they look at the radar, they can still see my plane on the radar in the United States area. If I've been flying for 10 hours and you can still see that dot around the Houston area, that means I'm just circling. I'm really not going anywhere.
Wow.
So there's some things, some forces, some feelings that you should grow out of. And when you grow out of those feelings, they're no longer on the radar. You didn't even know the person was trying to get you to be afraid. Are you with me?
Yes.
I've been going through that.
Wow.
You're spiraling up. And when you spiral up, don't think that when you spiral up, that you're not going to experience pain. It can be painful when you go through transformation. Is that right? So the corporate ego camouflages forces with close attributes. Here's a couple of other ones that are very close. We talked about doubt and practicality, right? Fear and awareness. Very close. Me being aware is not the same as me being afraid. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Some people would say, oh, you scared because you are ready to protect yourself. Or you protect yourself. They say, oh, you scared, huh? Where is your faith in God? Oh, and I tell them, why don't you just go ahead and walk across the street while the light red? Your light red, they light green. Go ahead. Go on, Chef. Go on across there. What you waiting on? Well, the cars are coming. Yeah, but you got faith. Let's take it to let's spiral up.
Yes.
There's a difference between fear and awareness. Awareness multiplies you because not only do you see the threats, you also see the opportunities.
Yes.
The Chinese said that every time you see a threat, there's also an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
See, right now, there's opportunity for us to do things that we could not have done if there wasn't a pandemic.
Right. Right.
It's very true.
Right.
But you can tell the difference between masters and chumps right now.
Right.
Because when the pandemic started, hell, we was at $3,000. We're like, we had $22,000, man.
Oh.
Hell, we ain't never, when we was packed out the door. People parked across the street at the feed store. And some of y'all watching know y'all need to give, because you ain't here Cash App, you ain't here the Dollar General, you ain't been to the website, you ain't done nothing but sit up and watch TV.
That's it.
But that's all right. That's all right, because see, the universe is working. You gonna miss out on the blessing.
Okay.
When it goes straight up invitation only, you won't be invited. See, let me explain something to you. This is an opportunity. Instead of you crying about what ain't, you need to be thinking about the playing field is level.
Yes.
Yo,
Oh, yes.
that movie theater is for sale,
That's
man.
right. That's right.
Come on. Come on.
Oh my God.
It's so cheap.
Come
No,
on.
you don't. No, you're not gonna sell me that for $750,000.
Oh my God.
But see, you're not thinking through energy-based perception because it told you that the wealth of the wicked was stored up for the righteous. I told you that the Orishas were going to take their planes out the sky. I told you it was for a limited time only. I told you, go back and read. Go back and listen to it. But you sitting around crying. You sitting around tired and weeping and cracking your teeth up because you can't participate in a fantasy that had you broke anyway. Had you lonely anyway. So now we get to see what you really about. We get to see who really real. And those of us that are with the consciousness of the universe will be multiplied. See, it's critical that every every time you're placed in a laboratory condition, that you observe the condition.
That's right.
So the plant,
Yeah.
are y'all all right? Give me a few more minutes. The plant is placed, in the greenhouse. It was in the desert.
Yeah.
Now it's in the greenhouse. Plant made. Plant upset. Okay, plant upset because all the other little plants are out in the desert. No, there's a lot of water out there, but that's their natural habitat. But here in the greenhouse, we got plenty of water for you. You got light that is growing you and multiplying you. Someone is genuinely interested in you bearing fruit.
Yeah.
And you can't grow. Because you mad. Because you in the greenhouse. When God came and got you out the desert. Because you were going extinct. Black folk. Black folk. Don't you be no fool and think you got this thing turned around. I told you the Orishas was coming. They came in the fires in California. Came up the coast in a hurricane. Came up the Gulf Coast. Turned right. Missed Houston.
Right.
Every time,
Just to
right?
show you where the power
Every
is.
time.
You ain't got the power. We got the power. Miss Houston.
Every time.
Left Alabama and went up to D.C. and slapped the hell out of it. I'm trying to tell you, this is your time.
Man.
I
You better
say.
go in that 555.
I
Come
say.
on. Come on, 555.
Yeah. Man. So you can't get caught up in where you are and think and not take out time to multiply yourself when you have more time than you ever did. You say, man, I'm going through it. I'm going through sickness. You going through sickness? Did you make it out? I made it out. Okay, now go teach others how to get out of that sickness for millions of dollars a year. I had somebody send me through hell for 2 years, sending me through an educational situation that I didn't need to go through. So I could come back. They thought I was going to fail. Did you hear what I said? But they didn't know me, did they? You don't know who you messing with.
Right.
So come out the situation. Now I'm supposed to give all of that to you? No, I'm going to take what I learned that you thought I was going to fail at. I'm going to build my own business. I'm going to be equal to you. See, you got to sit there. You got to understand, man. Like, be still, right? Does not mean that you don't think. Does not mean, it means that you're in the wisdom and the foundation of the universe. As you move, my stillness is in my mind. Oh, I'm almost out. Look, so fear and awareness, look alike. Doubt and practicality, look alike. Love and approval addiction, look alike. The love that people describe. Because, when you love somebody, you're supposed to be giving.
The love that they describe.
You're
right.
You're supposed to be giving and forgiving. There's so much giving in it. Giving, forgiving, reliving, just giving.
Work with it.
That's how sin comes out of it.
Work with it.
Just living. You just living. You living with it, huh? Look. And you think because of your Christian upbringing that when you give to somebody that don't deserve it, that you being a good person.
I know, right?
But it's an imposter. It's a force. The corporate ego has wrapped up approval addiction in seemingly in love, when what you're really looking at is the reality that you don't love yourself, and so therefore you need somebody else's approval to validate who you are. And that's why you give it to them. That's why you call them. That's why you all up in their grill.
Come on.
I know we got people of different cultures watching. You just go ahead and catch up because we black for real.
They know about it. They study us.
But understand when your mother and your father. Honor your mother and father that your days be long upon earth.
That's right.
You gotta get that rhythm, get that system, get that groove, 555. All day. Look at this thing, man. Look at this. The impulse to give must be an impulse generated by synergetic compatibility. Not sympathy. Not compassion. I give to you commensurate on our connection, on like terms. Because I feel me in you,
Yeah.
I am inspired, inspirited, or the breath of the universe, or the energy of the universe pushes me to give to you because you're like me.
Right.
Thank you. Fruitful and multiply.
That's right.
If I give to you out of sympathy or compassion, that ain't giving. You understand?
Yeah.
That's sympathy and compassion and empathy. And we have been taught that that is superior to us being in sync. Think about that.
Oh, wow.
Me feeling sorry for you is supposed to be more of an inspirational reason for me to go easy on you than synergetic compatibility is for me to empower you. Let me tell you something. If you see me weak, you better tell me to get the hell up. Don't come to me talking to me about well, you know, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry to see you in this condition. I don't talk to myself like that.
No, you don't. No, we don't.
You look at yourself, what the hell is wrong with you? Look at your leg, hey, what the hell is wrong? What you mean you cramp? You look at your bank account, what you mean zero? Hold on, man, yo, you don't do zero. We don't do zero.
We don't do it. We don't.
Talk to them like a mother and a father and straighten the hell out.
Right.
That's the problem. That's the problem. We've been copying people.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Y'all remember? I'm gonna go off just a little bit. Y'all remember when we were young and we would go out and play all day,
All day long.
and you might get some water out the faucet just before the sun went down.
Yeah.
But you didn't get water every 3 minutes.
No, you didn't.
Huh? Well, we need several bottles. We need volunteers for several bottles of water for the children, so that the children can be hydrated. It's very important that they be. What the hell are they, oceans? I need you to skip some of that, so that you can be lighter. I almost got in trouble with my little league team I had. Get out of here, man. These are racist. All these things.
I'm not a racist.
I almost got in trouble. I had a little league team. And I pushed them so hard, they were like little soldiers. They gave me the worst team at the whatever the name of the thing was, this boy club, whatever it was. It's some kind of community league or whatever. Gave me the worst. I was the last coach. Worst team. Oh, you know, shortest team.
Yep.
Heavyweight team. Man, I had them kids rolling.
Yeah.
Must see community basketball.
Yeah.
Why? Because I understood. I looked at what their skill set was. And I said, I did an hypothesis.
Yep.
If they're taller and you're shorter, the ball must leave from their hand to move it down to the ground. If you can grab the ball before it comes back up to their hands, that's called a steal. If you steal the ball while they're reaching and you continue to move and spiral up the court, they will be left while you're scoring points. And you might just work your way to a scholarship. I'm just talking about 5-5-5.
That's true.
See, you got to look at where you are and see, what can I do with this?
Boom.
What can I do with my pain?
Yes.
Are you carrying the cross, right, for somebody, and they don't get nothing out of it? But that's what happens.
That's right.
That's what happens when you mix up synergetic compatibility with approval addiction.
Wow.
Let's move on. So, when I am faced with these forces, with these strengths, with these people from the corporate ego, I've got a choice. I can cope with it, which means I just modify it. Right? I just cope with it. I don't like the situation. I don't like the way you treat me. I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like the way you handle it, but I'm just going to cope with it. I'm not going to try to do anything different. I'm just going to cry about it and go on. And my badge of honor is going to be I made it. And every time Marvin Sapp sang that song, So Glad I Made It, I'm right there. I shed a tear come down the eye, crocodile tear come down the eye, and I cry about it, and I get a hanky, and I get some ice cream, and I lay on somebody's shoulder, and I talk about, so glad I made it.
That's just ignorant. That's ignorant.
Then I don't want to go to the self-empowerment center because that crazy man up there talking about empowerment when I just need somebody to pray for me. Well, go on back down there to Mount Weakness Baptist Church with Reverend Portland Lewis and have you a good time. But as for me and this house, we gonna serve the saints.
That's right.
I didn't mean to get like that with you, but I gotta tell you the truth. The next thing they do is we manage. We manage it. So that means that I don't like it, but I try to keep it from affecting me too much.
Right.
I don't stop the child acting fool. I just try to manage it where nobody else don't know what's happening. I try to make sure that they don't flunk out. Just manage. Just mismanage the dude. Just manage her, you know. But to eliminate requires your transformation. Your transformation has nothing to do with them. Because what you're doing is you're increasing your vibrational frequency. And when you increase your vibrational frequency, you start to look at that problem as an opportunity, and you start to break that problem down apart from the person, apart from the situation, and look at it as a force. And you start to ask yourself these 4 questions real quick. 4 questions you ask yourself about a problem. Number 1, what kind of problem? What kind of problem this is? Is this a problem because of the timing? Meaning when it happened. This wouldn't be a problem if it happened 5 years ago. But it's a problem now because of where I find myself at the age I am in my life, at the position I am in my life, with what's going on in my life. It's really about time. If it wasn't for this particular time in my life, I could handle it. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Because when you start to manifest, then you go straight to the force of time. And you say to time, be still. Are you seeing it? Is this a problem, not because of timing, but is this a problem because of my emotional attachment? See, some things wouldn't be a problem for us if certain people wasn't attached to it. But because we are attached to the person that's involved in the problem. See, anybody else smoking that, anybody else drinking that, anybody else going over there, I wouldn't even care.
That's true.
But because it's you,
Right.
you seeing that?
Yes.
I'm involved in it.
Right.
Somebody else called me with the same thing, I didn't even go see them. But because it was you. You see, that's what the corporate ego likes to do. It likes to, you know, y'all never watch The Godfather. The Godfather. At one point, in one place in The Godfather, they were about to send the Corleones to jail. And you know, the Corleones didn't have a case. The senators were really happy because they're like, oh, we got him now. We got him. But Michael Corleone went overseas and got a brother that was connected to, I think, to one of the senators or one of the people making the decision. He didn't walk into court with no lawyer. He didn't walk into court with no bribe. He walked into court with that brother and just put his arm around that brother like, you know what's going to happen to him if something happened to me, right? That's how the corporate ego do you. Corporate ego walk in the courtroom of your mind with your husband.
Oh.
If you don't get depressed, if you don't get scared, he might not make it. Corporate ego walk in the courtroom, put his arm around your child. Have you in fear. I want to use my signs, but that's my baby. Huh? But you got to be strong enough to use the science the way it is prescribed, no matter who it looks like the corporate ego got a hold on. You cannot go to begging that person. You cannot go to crying over that situation. You have got to contemplate on what you want to see and manifest that instead of trying to fix everything wrong with the person.
That's right.
You got to take it to your altar.
That's beautiful.
You got to take it to your portal.
That's good.
You got to use that energy, right? You got to understand the more you're talking, the less that you are meditating, the less that you are contemplating on what you want to see. I remember, like I told y'all a few weeks ago, when I was in one of my trips through grad school, when I was in business school and law school at the same time, and I was going through all of that hell with that class. I'm trying to talk to this man ain't even listening. But then I said, I went on my bed at night. Turn on that classical music. Turn on those tones. So that your mind starts going to a higher vibration than their mind. And you become the teacher. And you're their test. They're trying to figure out, how do I beat you? Instead of you trying to figure out how I beat them. But it's a discipline.
That's right.
It's a discipline. But see, the ego come and tell you, you need to get some sleep. You've been up all night. How long you gonna sleep? You deserve to go to sleep. He said, no, I'm not letting go to this contemplation till my change comes. See? Till my change comes. I'm gonna hold on to what I want to see until my change comes.
Wow.
Some problems are not emotional. Some problems are not about timing. Some problems are the third thing, which are volume. Volume is quantity. It's so much. You're overwhelmed. You got so many things going on. This is one of the ways corporate ego gives it to you, is it brings you so much stuff to deal with at one time, you can't think. And what you have to start to do with that, with a volume problem, is you have to start understanding it's still all one thing. And you have to systematically start with what's the hardest first. A lot of people want to start with what's easiest. Start with the hardest problem first.
That's right.
Because when you repair the hardest issue, what ends up happening is that you take the legs out from under the other issues. Because some of those other little issues are powerful because they came with the big issue. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
See, the sickness is such a problem because I'm behind on my bills too.
Yeah.
So let me tell the bills to step back and let me deal with the sickness.
Yeah.
Because if I can get my health right, then I have the strength to deal with the bills.
That's right.
And I have to trust the universe to keep them off me long enough for me to get my health right.
That's right.
Are you seeing that? But when the universe sees that I have a strategy and sees me working in the laboratory, the universe will hold back the placebo effect of some of this other stuff.
That's right.
The last one is complexity. It's not how much it is. It's not that I'm attached to something emotionally. It's not the timing of it. It's the complexity of it. It's hard to figure out. And again, this is where I have to go to my God self. And because that's really an illusion. Complexity is an illusion. If you are the God and you are the creator of all energy-based energy and all matter, then there is nothing that you can't do. You can do everything, right? If you have the mind science or divine mind working in you. So at the point of complexity, what becomes important, most important, is for you to continually remind yourself of how smart you really are, how intelligent you really are. And so you start looking at other people that have overcome things you've overcome, but you also go down memory lane and look at everything you've already overcome. Some of you have overcome more in a year of your life than some people have overcome in their entire life. So there's no way that you shouldn't have the confidence that you can get through this. Some of us have been abused for years and came through that. And you think you can't come through a pandemic? Some of us have gone through all kind of disappointment and trial and difficulty. And you think that you can't overcome a little pain? So you got to look at the complexity and say, I'm greater than my complexity. So each of these, as I wrap up, each of these represent mere perceptions of the problem. Those four problems, those four things, are just perception. That emotional attachment is a perception. That timing is a perception that you are accepted. That volume that is too much is a perception. Complexity is a perception. So you got to say to yourself, time is irrelevant. That which is meant to be in my life will not block or slow my spiral. If you are somebody that's supposed to be connected to me, you're not going to block me or slow me down. You're going to help me do what I got to do.
That's right.
And that's what I'm going to my portal with.
That's right.
And if you're with me, then you're going to be multiplied. If you're not, you're going to find a way to get out. All increases in volume increase me. I am the impact. So as my issue increases, so do I. That has to be something you understand as universal law. And then the last thing is, nothing is difficult and everything is important. What do we mean by that as we close? Start to look at everything in life. Nothing is that difficult. Anything can be conquered. But one thing you have to do is you have to say to yourself, everything is important. Don't do anything with half heart. Whatever you do, go all out with it. Do it to the best of your ability. Why? Because that's what makes nothing able to conquer you. It's because everything you do it in excellent fashion. And because you do everything in excellent fashion, that gives you the confidence to know that there's nothing you can't overcome. I say thank you for listening.